Hello everybody, thank you for watching. This is the Tipsy channel, and this video going to be on the 5 important financial tips for young adults. Let's begin. Hello everybody. So what made me decide to make this video today was that I always used to give friends and families, I wouldn't say used to because I still do to this day, advice on money management. And a lot of times people would tell me that I was very good, skillful with money management, and that I should begin working in that field, being that my major is business management. So today I gave a good close friend of mine some money management skills, some decisions, some things he should apply to his life. And he told me the same thing. He said, yo, Salim, you're very good with this. You should do money management things more. So I decided I'm trying to build my YouTube channel, so why not make a YouTube video, educating other young adults about important financial tips that they can apply to their lives to make it less stressful, more smooth, a lot better. So let's start. And we're going to begin with financial tip number 1. Let's begin. Okay, financial tip number 1. Everybody should start making it their goal to save between 15 and 30% of their monthly income. I'm going to repeat. Make it your goal to save at least 15 to 30% of your monthly income. So now I'm not saying tomorrow when you get your paycheck to run straight to the bank and deposit 30% because you're trying to reach it. That's unrealistic. So the best way to go upon achieving this goal or this tip will be for the next 3 months, say, okay, I'm gonna put away 5% of my monthly income. Okay, you do those 3 months successfully, you increase it to 10%. You do those 3 months successfully, then now you increase it to 15%. So now within 6 months, you went from not saving to now saving 15% of your monthly income, which is within that bracket. If you're doing 15, great. Increase it to 20, 25, 30. The higher you're up, the better, but you want to aim to be in that bracket of 15% and 30% being saved of your monthly income. So let's say you make $1,000 a month, you want to at least reach a goal where you're saving $150, which is 15% of that $1,000 monthly income. That should be your goal. Reach that goal by saving and increasing the percentage you save every 3 months. Start up at 5%, 3 months, increase to 10%. After that 3 months, increase to 15%, and you will reach your goal in no time. And you will have that savings account that everybody dreams of and that everybody wishes they have. That's financial tip number 1. Now we're going on to financial tip number 2. So financial tip number 2. You want to save up to at least 3 months of your living expenses. So now to those who is saying, okay, I want to start saving, how much should I reach before I should be okay? Or for those who are currently saving, who's saying, okay, how much should I save up where I can feel comfortable? What should be my goal limit to save up to? What that should be is you need to sit down, you need to write down all your expenses that you have in 1 month. It can be car insurance, car note, rent, bills, everything. Write it all down on a piece of paper, take note of it, add it up, get your total, times that total by 3, and that should be your goal to reach when you're saving up and building that savings account. The reason why is because you always want to have financial cushion. That's what I like to call it, financial cushion. You never know if you can lose your job. You never know if your car can break down. You never know what unexpected expense could come into your life, and you always want to be prepared. You don't want to panic and start living off credit card debt or borrowing money, because that can be a downhill. You don't want to do that. It can go downhill quick and very hard to bounce back from. So make it your goal to save at least 3 months living expenses. So make sure you add everything up, times it by 3, and that should be your goal. It's different. It varies from person to person, so I cannot give a set number. But after you do the math, you should have your personal set number and your goal to reach when saving up and building that savings account. That's financial tip number 2. So now we're on to tip number 3. I feel like this tip is very important for y'all young adults. Now, this tip is sell your unused valuable items. Okay? This is very important, and I see it so much. It kind of irks me. It's just like, why? So now, scenario. You sitting down, you have your iPhone 6, you feel that it's old, it's outdated. All your friends have the iPhone 8. Now you want to be, keeping up with the Jonas. You want to be the guy with the status, the big dog, or such and such. You go, you buy an iPhone X. Great. You work hard, you deserve it, you earned it. Now you walking around with your iPhone X, and you put your old dusty iPhone 6 on the counter in your bedroom. You don't plan on using it, you don't care for it, it's just sitting there for months collecting dust. Now, smart thing to do is to sell it. Now, most people like, oh no, I'm using it for backup, and they make some excuse to themselves on why they're keeping it. But usually, if you're having that excuse, you don't need a backup phone unless you're really doing some very important business deals or something. Sell that iPhone. Sell that old laptop. Sell the nice clothes you have in your closet that you're going to supposedly wear one day. All them items has value currently or at that moment, and the more you sit, the more you hold it, the more it decreases in value, and the less it becomes. It is worth less over time. So you want to get the value for it while you still can, especially if you plan on not using it or just keeping it for backup. So a lot of these items can consist of phones, laptops, clothes, and even gift cards. A lot of people hold gift cards they get from their family and friends. You can always sell those gift cards to your local pawn shop for cash. Phones is the same, laptops is the same, clothes, you can go play those closet, you can go to a lot of places. So sell your valuable items, and you can always take that money and use it for important things. You can put it towards starting your saving account, building that savings account. So all my watchers, if you're a young adult, go through your room. If you're not using these items, iPhones, laptops, clothes, gift cards, gather them all up and put them on OfferUp or Craigslist and sell them, and try to get some money that you can use to jumpstart your savings account. That is financial tip number 3. Now we're on to number 4. So now we're on to financial tip number 4. But before we begin that, I'd like to apologize because my hair is a hot mess. I know y'all looking like, what? It's a hot mess. I apologize. I need to work on it. But just having a little fun. But financial tip number 4 is you never want to start your credit line off with a high credit limit. So now you at the bank, you over 18, you either depositing or withdrawing cash. The bank teller says, hey, do you want to apply for a credit card and begin your credit line? Now in your mind, you're like, oh man, this is tempting. I can get me them off-white sneakers. I can get me that Supreme jacket that came out on StockX. Or females might say, hey man, I can go to the Mac store, get all the makeup foundation I want, be on fleek. It's tempting. You're young, you want to be stylish, you want to have status. But you never want to get a high credit limit, because at them times where you're irresponsible and you're not doing well with your credit, you don't want to put yourself in a hole that you can't dig out. You don't want to set yourself up to potentially be in a hole that you can't get out of. So you want to aim to have a credit limit that you can pay off within 2 paychecks. So let's say you fresh out of high school, you're working at a part-time job, your monthly income is $600. You get 2 checks a month, you're getting paid bi-weekly. That's 300 every 2 weeks. So one paycheck is 300, second paycheck is 300. So you want to aim to get a credit limit that's maybe $500. You want to be a little, you can get 750, but you want to be able to get a credit limit that you can pay off with 2 paychecks. Boom, boom, pay it off. So that way you will never set yourself up to where you reckless or you're being irresponsible and then you put yourself in a hole that you can't get out of. Because when you start off with credit, you're not gonna know what you're doing. You're not gonna have that skill yet to maintain and to use your credit correctly. It comes with practice, as any skill does. So you want to practice first, and you want to practice on safe grounds. So make sure you start off with a credit limit that you can pay off between 2 to 3 paychecks. It varies person to person. I can't give you a set limit. You do the math. You get your paycheck after taxes, times about 2 or 3, and that should be your credit limit that you start off with. That's financial tip number 4. And now we're going on to the last financial tip number 5. So now we're on to tip number 5. So now this tip is for my current credit users. If you don't have credit, you can still use this tip and you can still keep it in your mind. So when you do have credit, you can use it more wisely. So now I learned this tip the hard way. When I first got credit, I thought I was doing everything right. Come to find out, I was doing a few things wrong, and my credit was actually decreasing instead of the opposite. So, financial tip number 5 is you never want to use over 30% of your credit limit. Yes, crazy, for those who don't know. So, when I first got my credit card personally, I thought as long as I use it up, I don't care if I max it out and pay it off before the date they give you, then I was good. I thought, oh, my credit would be increasing. So I would swipe, max out the $500 credit limit that I had, and then pay it off before the due date, and I'm thinking my credit is increasing. Wrong. Credit bureaus, credit companies, they penalize you when you go over 30% of your credit limit. So for example, you have $1,000 credit limit, you're good. The moment you go over $300, now you're at $315, your credit score begins to drop. You start getting penalized. I'm not sure why they do that. I feel like they feel that since you're using so much credit, you're not being responsible with your actual money in your account. That's how I feel. But the moment you go at 30% mark, you begin to get penalized, and your credit score begins to drop. So you always want to stay within that. If you have $1,000 credit limit, you want to stay between $300 and less. That's how much you want to use. And of course, life comes up, and that should be the only reason you might go over that limit, over that 30%. If life happens, if you need it for important things. And it's something you got to work on. So it might suck if your credit limit is $500, but you got to be responsible and you got to use only 30%. And if you go over that, expect to get penalized. And of course, after you pay it off, your score goes back up. So say you have $1,000 credit limit, you now have $500. You use $500, your score decreased. When you pay back, say $200, now you're at the 30% mark, $300, it increases. So it goes up and down. So don't be too sad if you pass that 30% and it drops, because you will see it drop. But as long as you go back up and maintain it and keep it at that 30%, your credit score will go back up. So that's tip number 5. I feel that is very important. I learned it the hard way. Never use more than 30% of your credit limit unless you have to. Unless it's an emergency, you want to use your credit limit responsibly. And I can't stress that enough. Maxing your credit limit out always going to hurt you, and always going to make having that great credit score hard. And you don't want it to happen. So that's financial tip number 5 for my young adults, for my credit users, for my future credit users. Always remember that tip. So that's financial tip number 5. Okay, so those are the 5 financial tips for young adults. So now let's do a quick recap. Financial tip number 1, you want to start saving between 15 and 30% of your monthly income. Number 1. Number 2, save up to at least 3-month living expenses. You want to have 3-month living expenses in your savings account. That should be your goal. If you surpass that, great. Keep up the good work. Number 3, sell all those unused items that is decreasing in value. If you're not using that item, if you haven't used it over a year, if you don't plan on using it, sell it, get what you can for its current value. Use that money to jumpstart your saving account. Number 4, never begin your credit line with a high credit limit, because if you're new to it, you don't have much skill on maintaining it, and you don't want to put yourself in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of. Financial tip number 4. Number 5, never use over 30% of your credit limit, because credit bureaus will penalize you. Always try to maintain a 30% usage of your credit limit. You have 1,000, use 300 or less, and your credit limit will go through the roof. It's credit limit. Yikes! Your credit score will go through the roof, and it'll be great. And you can apply and get more credit, and next thing you know, you have 10,000 in your credit card that you can use and be good. But build up your skill first. Learn how to maintain credit before you try to get a high limit. Those are the 5 financial tips for young adults. I hope you learned something. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at SkyChill, SKYECHILL. Thank you for watching. Build that savings account. Get that credit score. Be good. Thank you for watching again. I'm out. Peace.